Ashurbanipal was king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. At the time of his reign, 669 to 631 BC, it was the largest empire in the world, stretching from Cyprus in the west to Iran in the east, and at one point even including Egypt. Its capital, Nineveh in modern-day Iraq, was the largest city in the world. This was at a time when Greek city-states such as Athens and Sparta were still in their infancy, and Rome was just a small settlement. Ashurbanipal even called himself king of the world at one point. Quite a bold claim, but considering the size of the empire, it wasn't far from the truth. Despite being one of the greatest kings of Assyria, Ashurbanipal was not destined for the throne, as he was a younger son of the king. When his older brother and heir to the throne died, his father, Esarhaddon, passed over his next oldest son, Shamash-shum and made Ashurbanipal the crown prince. This was a bold and perhaps a bit crazy move. Esarhaddon's own father was brutally murdered by his own sons after he put their younger brother, Esarhaddon, on the throne. Shamash-shum would have been quite upset by the decision to bypass him. As a consolation, Esarhaddon made Shamash-shum king of Babylon. At the time, Babylon was part of the Assyrian Empire, so he would essentially have to answer to his younger brother. Tensions would later explode into all-out war. When Ashurbanipal was named crown prince, he began his training to be king. He learned royal etiquette, important military skills, and was trained. He followed his father to the court, where he was able to learn the ways of the Assyrian kingdom. He also worked as a spy master for his father, gathering information from agents throughout the empire and compiling intelligence reports. This helped to develop Ashurbanipal's knowledge of the empire and who his potential enemies were. Ashurbanipal was popular with his subjects, but ruthless in his treatment of enemies. He was said to have put a dog's chain through the jaws of a defeated king. He was quite brutal, even by the standards of the ancient world. When the state of Elam tried to rise up against Assyria, Ashurbanipal crushed them. He killed the Elamite king and his son with his own sword. The head of the Elamite king was brought back to the palace in Nineveh, where it was hung from a tree in the garden as decoration. Most people would see this as a clear warning: don't mess with Ashurbanipal. His crushing of enemies wasn't limited to external threats. He also destroyed his own brother. As we have already seen, Ashurbanipal's brother, Shamash-shum had been appointed king of Babylon. Tired of answering back to Ashurbanipal, his brother conspired against him, forming a coalition with other peripheral peoples in the empire and taking contested cities in Babylon's name. When Ashurbanipal discovered the plot, he laid siege to Babylon for 2 years. There were horrific stories of people eating their own children to survive the famine. Eventually, Ashurbanipal's brother died in his burning palace to escape capture, and his conspirators were killed. When he wasn't crushing enemies and killing lions, Ashurbanipal enjoyed academic pursuits. He could read and write, which was unusual for a king. He liked to boast about his academic skills and was even depicted in his palace reliefs with a stylus, used for writing, along with his sword. Ashurbanipal developed the world's first systematically cataloged library. He wanted a copy of every book worth having, and so he sent his servants throughout the empire to collect all the knowledge in the world. Assyrian books were mostly written on clay tablets, not paper, in a script called cuneiform. In total, he collected hundreds of thousands of these tablets, of which about 30,000 are now in the British Museum.